In January, I tried to place a bet with Paddy Powers, which is a betting company here in the UK, and the bet was that President Biden wouldn't last for more than 6 months. They refused to take my bet, which means that they thought the same as me. Well, it turns out we were both wrong, doesn't it? Biden has lasted 7 months, but I don't think that situation will persist for much longer. Perhaps I should have tried for, 9 months, and then I might have won something. He will be deemed incompetent. His whole handling of the Afghan business, to be fair, it wasn't him personally, was it? It was his staff that gave him the advice and the army that executed and literally executed this whole business. But the buck does stop at his desk, doesn't it? So he will be deemed incompetent. I don't understand why the Republicans aren't going into full gear to impeach him. What's wrong with you guys at the GOP? But I digress. So I suppose the Democrats will give him the chance to fall on his sword, have to resign, honourable course of action, the great sacrifice for the good of the company, and then they'll install that cackling witch Kamala Harris in the Oval Office as their next puppet in line, and she'll probably last until some kid throws a bucket of water on her. Whatever. As the stories from Afghanistan trickle through, whatever CNN and MSNBC try to do to muffle them, there will be a national outrage that even they won't be able to deflect. And Biden the God will suddenly be seen as the fool that the Trump supporters have been warning everyone about all this time. The worst of it is that this was completely avoidable. I know Afghanistan was a mess, but I'm going to make another video, I think, outlining why I think the West should have stayed there. But right now, I'm just going to talk about Biden and about the American soldiers and civilian operatives, about 15,000 of them who are stranded in remote areas. How are they going to find their way home with this lack of organisation or backup? They've been advised to make their way to the airport as if Afghanistan was some civilised place where they could catch a train or a bus or something. Afghanistan does not have a nice flat motorway. That's a freeway to you Yanks. A nice flat road all the way from Duraj to Kabul. It's not like that. It's hills and mountains and potholes, lots and lots of potholes, and unfriendly Taliban forces with roadblocks. How many foreign workers are going to get shot at one of these roadblocks, I wonder, and then dumped into some valley somewhere? Does anyone think the Taliban follow the rules of war? Well, some will get through, and I'm certain that some will not. And of course, the army's going to have to send in more troops to rescue them, and then there'll be loss of life with that as well. But that's only for the ones who manage to stay in communication. Communications in Afghanistan aren't that good either in the countryside. There are going to be ordinary American people in America knocking on the doors of the State Department for years to come, asking what's happened to their sons, their brothers, their fathers. This is a terrible situation. And the British Army experts, I might point out, have been warning the American government that this would happen. They've been warning them for months, but then Biden doesn't listen to the Brits, does he? As he says, he's Irish. Oh, I am so angry about this. It's a rout, and an embarrassing rout. And I'm not even an American. And I'm embarrassed. God knows what this is going to do to the stability of the American government. It's certainly going to do horrors to the American reputation in the world. What's Taiwan going to think? All these countries are just going to look at America and they're going to think, you're about as reliable, about as much use as a chocolate teapot. When I've calmed down a bit, I'm going to make that video about why it was probably a mistake to ditch Afghanistan so comprehensively. But at the moment, I am just furious. Why not treat yourself or a favoured relative or friend to these magnificent examples of merch? The mugs and t-shirts come in the Graniopteryx design or Grambo, with a firearm or the more deadly knitting needles. Go to www.graniopteryx.com and whatever platform you're watching this on, please click like, subscribe and share.